Hello, and welcome back to the Week in Nintendo right here on GVG. I'm your host again this week, Steve Bowling, and as we're recording this, it's actually Thanksgiving here in the US. And do you know what I'm thankful for? My two co-hosts. Joining us again on the Week in Nintendo are both John and Daniel. How are you, John?
I'm good. I'm thankful for air. Without it, we'd have nothing, would we?
You know, you don't technically need to be thankful. You're British.
I'm not thankful.
I'm not. It's not even a holiday for you. You ingrate. Daniel, how you doing, man?
It's okay. I'll be thankful for air and for water, keeping me hydrated at times like this. I've been needing more and more water, especially as it's been getting colder over here. I keep forgetting to have some water. It's freezing right now. It's really early and cold.
I'm with you. We've kind of had a cold snap here where I live, and the first thing that kind of exits my mind is the idea that I need to remain hydrated. So I'm totally with you. You know, it's a weird thing though. Like, obviously, like logically, I know that British folks don't celebrate Thanksgiving because why would you? It's a uniquely American holiday. But it wasn't until I met my wife that really sunk in, because we would talk and I'm like, oh yeah, it's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. And she's just like, uh-huh.
So Steve's wife is British. And you've had a Christmas together, right?
Yes, we've had a Christmas and a Thanksgiving.
Does how did the crackers conversation go? Because in the UK we have Christmas crackers that you pull. Inside the cracker is a little paper hat you put on your head. And I realized recently that's not a thing in America.
Yeah, so I learned about this of all things from Gavin and Stacey, which is like a very popular British show, which is largely responsible for James Corden. You guys owe us an apology for that, by the way. Yeah. But I was like, we watched a Christmas episode of that, and for the longest time, like Gavin and Stacey kind of like would disappear and then just reemerge with a Christmas episode and then disappear again. Mm-hmm. And it was just kind of like everyone was wearing a paper crown. And I looked at my wife and I was like, is that a thing you guys do, or is this just like a quirky TV?
It's a little ritual. You grab one end of the cracker each, you pull it, and the person who gets the bigger end gets what the contents of the cracker, which contains the paper crown, a little joke, and a little knick-knack. Could be like a bottle opener, could be some dice or something. Just a little thing inside the cracker.
Now see,
that's the silliest British thing I've ever heard.
I actually did not know parts of that. So as an attempt to make Rosie's first Christmas here like a welcome one, because obviously, you know, emotions are high. Like you first Christmas out of your country without your family, I bought crackers and brought them to my my mom's Christmas party, and we all did them, and you know, we were like, haha, so novel. But ours didn't have anything inside except for the little crown. Like, we didn't get any cool knickknacks. I think there might have been like candy in them or something, but now I have to find better ones apparently. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like, my whole family thought it was really novel and interesting, and they put on the paper crowns for like 30 seconds and they're like, all right, yeah.
You've got to wear them throughout Christmas dinner the entire time.
I will say the one thing, I have to ask you this, John, because I don't know if my wife is an alcoholic or if this is just a British thing.
It just sounds British so far, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, she told me that it's pretty traditional to just get a little drunk almost all day on Christmas.
Yeah, you start with Bucks Fizz in the morning, which is champagne with orange juice. Mm. And then you gradually just don't stop drinking until the day ends. You start from when you wake up, you have Bucks Fizz with your breakfast. And
what do you do when you have little kids? You've got two little kids. Are you just kind of getting slightly hammered?
They've got to learn, don't they? They need to learn the ways of the land.
They'll learn early. They'll learn eventually anyway, so.
Be like, man, Dad's always tired on Christmas. It's all the unwrapping presents. That has to be it. That is, yeah, it's an interesting thing though. Like, there are these kind of subtle, like, little cultural differences that I think people don't appreciate. Like I said, logically, I knew that Americans are the only ones that celebrate Thanksgiving. But then when you meet someone from another country and you just talk to them on the day of, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to work. I'm like, oh, yeah. Right. You're not going to watch a giant Goku going down the street in a parade.
I wish we did. We have nothing like that. We don't really get parades that much. I think parades are more of an American thing.
Yeah, when I think about it, I can't I can't think of any other parade I've seen in another country that wasn't like a military parade. Like
Yeah.
we're just like, here's a bunch of balloons. Like we're gonna watch a bunch of balloons go down Fifth Avenue in New York for some reason. That's part of it. We eat a lot of turkey and then we watch people parade around with balloons. Also, we eat Daniel. I don't know if this is true for you, but my family eats dinner like absurdly early on Thanksgiving. Like today, as we're recording this, I have to be at my sister's house at 4 p.m. for dinner. That's basically a late lunch.
Oh man, I think the most I remember, like the fondest memories I have of Thanksgiving would be when I was with someone else and they had a Portuguese family, and so big families, and so the morning or afternoon would be with one side of the family, and then the dinner, actual later in the evening, would be with the other side of the family. We had a lot of food way back in those days, and no, but yeah, I guess it just depends. Some people do it really early, and others just do it really late, and it kind of conflicts with other people's plans. But we try to do what we can, and yeah, these days it's so weird because I remember back then we would have like an entire like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday would be off from school. Now my little sisters, they have a whole week off. They're just they tell me they're not going to school tomorrow when it was Sunday, and I was like, what? For what reason? What holiday? Oh, it's Thanksgiving. It completely throws me off.
That's absurd. Like I have kids, obviously, and mine I would prefer that they had the week off, to be honest. My kids went to school. They didn't have school Monday. Then they went to school, and I'm not kidding, for only 2 hours on Tuesday. And then they had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, like I literally had to drop them off and then just kind of, I don't know, have coffee and then go get them again. It just felt really, really absurd. But yeah, I remember. I feel you, Daniel. Like it used to just be like you got a couple days, and now they're like, we'll just give them the whole week. Like you don't know.
This is turning into the cultural differences podcast rather than Nintendo. But here's another question. So, in America, I think you get a really long summer break in school, right? And I think in the UK we get a summer break, but we also get half terms. So every like 2 months or so, you get a week off school. Is that a thing in America, or is it just a big summer for you guys?
We don't get it every 2 months. It's like you get the long summer break, which is quite a while, and then you have what we call winter and spring break. So winter break is basically Christmas, right? And then spring break is like a week in the middle of spring. But I wouldn't say they do it like clockwork every 2 months, because from like August or September, whenever school starts in your area, till winter break, which is going to at least be 3 months, you don't get anything. You get like your bank holidays off, and that's it.
Okay. Interesting.
There's a lot of holidays here in America. Like they kids get so many days off that it pretty much extends the year a little bit. Like I feel like it gets pushed back a bit more because they're just adding more holidays. Like with Thanksgiving, it used to be just the few days or a couple of days leading up to Thanksgiving. Now it's a whole week, and it feels like school years last a lot longer because of that. So
yeah. But either way, we should probably talk a little bit about Nintendo. And so,
just getting festive. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, it is a holiday today for 2 of the 3 of us. But I want to ask you guys. Let's go around the traditional question asking. Daniel, I'll start with you. What have you been playing this week?
It's been a lot of Kirby Air Riders. I know there's a lot of different opinions of that game. Some people have jumped into it and have been very addicted to it. Some of them have bounced off by now. But people like me and Brandon, and also very recently Arlo as well, we've all been just enjoying that game very much and just, getting that in whenever we can lately.
Nice. That's awesome. I personally haven't played a ton of Kirby Air Riders. I played a little bit of Road Trip, and I actually, I at least want to say that I understood the concept a bit more when I played it. I don't know that I'd go as far as to say, I had a great time, but it is the most fun I've had with the game so far. John, what have you been playing?
Been playing the opposite game. Been playing Mario Kart World during Kirby Air Riders launch week.
You heathen. No,
I know. So with Mario Kart World, I basically always just played it online and never really touched any of the other modes. But in the last few weeks, I've been playing the open world, just finding P-switches. and I've been really enjoying it. Like, whenever I get some downtime, I just boot up that world, roam around, look for those blue little switches, do the challenges. I've been having a good time. I'm actually appreciating the open world a lot more than I used to. 'Cause it's nice to just chill out and mellow down with the music and just find those little switches. I will get to Kirby more, but I'm determined to find all those switches now. And once I do, Kirby can have my attention. Or I'll be on Metroid. We'll see what happens.
Those are two very different moods. Yeah, there's like the very chill road trippy vibe with Mario Kart World, just roaming the world looking for those switches, or the absolute madness of City Trial, which I've been doing a lot lately. And oh man, it's an interesting conversation to be had about these two games. I know that people will try and compare the two. They're very different games. They're different audiences. They're
not
different
remotely
people.
similar, really.
Yeah,
they both go forward towards a racetrack. That's it, really. There's no other similarities.
Pretty much. Yeah, there's more of the common ground between this and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds than Kirby Air Riders. Kirby just tries to do its own thing entirely, but yeah.
It's very, very different moods. I have to say, John, I actually was aware that you've been playing Mario Kart World quite a bit, only because the Switch Online app now got updated to have a feature where in the notification that your friend has come online, it tells you what they're doing.
Oh,
and so like on my home screen, I'll just randomly get pings that like, hey, John's playing Mario Kart World. I'm like, I didn't need to know that, but it is kind of neat to see. Like, I don't even have to go in the app anymore.
Something happened yesterday that I wasn't prepared for. So my 5-year-old daughter came home from school and said, "Dad, I want to play Minecraft." I was like, what words did you just say?
What?
So I downloaded Minecraft on her Switch Lite, and she's been moseying around in this. But I wasn't expecting this to happen until she was like 10. But no, she's just digging around, digging big holes. And I don't know how to connect with this. I've been trying to get her on Mario, and all of a sudden she's crafting in mines, and I don't know what to do.
You know, that's an interesting conundrum because around that age, that also happened with both of my daughters. And to this date, I don't know how they connected those dots. I'm going to assume that, because I know you take your kids to nursery during the day. I'm going to assume they learned from another kid. Like they're just like, oh yeah, Minecraft, I want to know about this. Because mine, around 5 years old, also came home and were just like, Dad, I want to play Minecraft. And I remember having like an existential crisis about it. I was just like, I don't play Minecraft.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
I ended up...
All these games are available to the children, and they choose to craft in the mines.
Oh, yeah. It is such a kind of weird thing to have these kids like that have access, because obviously doing what we do, we all have loads of games. And you always think like, oh, my kid will pick a game off of my shelf and play that. And then they pick the one game that you have like no interest in and play that. I ended up learning how to play Minecraft a little bit. And fortunately, their time with the game was very brief. Like, I think they jumped in expecting a lot and then were just kind of like, oh, you just dig a hole.
Yeah.
And they got over it pretty quick. But I still have the world I created with them and a little house I made with like little light switches that could turn on. But it was a lot of looking at YouTube tutorials for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, kid, we've got Sonic R back here, and you're choosing to dig holes. Come on, get with it.
Have you not seen my copy of Panzer Dragoon back there? Yeah, it is kind of absurd to me. Like my kids, and it'll just get worse, John. Like, sure. Now my kids are 12 and 9, and we literally in the corner of our game room have just a shelf full of hundreds of Switch games. And they will find the most obscure, weird thing that they saw a guy named Queso streaming and be like, I want to play that. And I'm like, who's Queso? But yeah, I learned that Brandon knew who that was, by the way. That was a revelation for me this week. Like, I was like, my 12-year-old likes this guy named Queso. And he's like, oh yeah, I know him. I was like, you young man. I'm upset by your youth. But anyway, so speaking of streamers that we're unaware of and that baffle us, today on the Week in Nintendo, we're going to be talking about the Game Awards, which objectively gives a platform to streamers I've never heard of every single year. I thought we'd do this, fellas. I want to go through I'm not going to say all, but most of the Game Awards categories And we're going to do it with a little Nintendo twist, because I know that as we go through these, we're not going to find very many Nintendo games. So here's the format. We're going to go through. I will read off the nominees in each category. We're going to determine which one we think will win out of those. And then we're going to go an additional step further and nominate a Nintendo game that should have been in here, and then figure out if that actually would have had a chance of winning or not, were it actually in there. It sounds complicated, but I think it's just going to be maybe it'll be easy. You know what? Maybe it won't be, but let's go ahead and jump right into things. I'm going to skip over a few. I'm looking.
We start from the bottom.
We're starting
going all
from
the way
the
up?
bottom. That's right.
Alrighty.
So we're going to skip a few of these. Like, I don't think that Nintendo is going to win in any of the esports athlete categories. Does Nintendo sponsor any esports athletes anywhere? I don't think they do.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure
During
not.
Smash Ultimate's first year, I think they had a little bit of esports stuff going on, but I don't think they sponsored anybody.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
I know. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's like they dabbled with it, but there wasn't really much life in it after the first year or so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they still do some esports stuff on their own, like for their own games. Like Jordan Kent is still an announcer for Nintendo events like for Splatoon and Smash, but I don't think they're really deep into esports. We're gonna go ahead and start with most anticipated game, because I feel like that's the first opportunity for Nintendo to get in here.
You're skipping right over content creator of the year.
Come
No,
on,
well,
we got to give it to Scott. He's never won, and he's never been nominated for something.
That's true. Like,
No love.
the strange snubbing of Scott every single year feels bizarre. Like, he's the fastest growing creator that I think I know personally, but
Yeah.
he's also never going to make it for whatever reason.
We were going to hopefully and wait for Sakura Miko to win this one. Just like last year. Last year it was Pekora, which is Kojima's favorite VTuber. There definitely wasn't any correlation with that at the end of the road, right? They're from the same branch, so I bet she'll win. But it doesn't matter because
I was looking at this. Who the hell is the burnt peanut?
I don't
Like, it's just a peanut with a face put on it. I hate
don't know.
I don't understand.
And then you've got Moist Critical and Kai Cenat, like people who are objectively millionaires. They don't need an award. They got all our money. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna go straight to best adaptation, and let's see what we have here. We have the Minecraft movie. So John, your daughter would be happy.
Of course.
Devil May Cry. We have Splinter Cell Death Watch. The Last of Us Season 2 and Until Dawn. No Sonic in here, which is
that's
and
true.
Some of these choices are just flat out bad. Sonic,
why?
I think they just forgot about Sonic because it makes the cutoff, but it came out December last year. So it makes the cutoff, but I think everyone nominating movies simply forgot that it made the cutoff.
I'm pretty sure everything that releases in December just drops off the face of the earth, and everyone just forgets it by the next year. Unfortunately, because I would
Until Dawn.
What I put it.
Until Dawn and Devil May Cry aren't very good.
That's what I've heard. I've not seen either.
I didn't enjoy The Last of Us Season 2 that much either. I mean, it's pretty good. It's good enough to be here among these other things, but there's no clear this must win.
The Last of Us Season 2 is the only thing on this list I've watched. And I'm with you, John. Like, it didn't hit for me the same way Season 1 did. I did not enjoy it nearly as much as the first season. And I think a large part of that is because it diverged from the source material pretty heavily right at the start.
Yeah.
Well, how long until you watch the Minecraft movie with your daughter, John?
It probably won't be that long, I guess. Who knows? Maybe it deserves to win. I have no idea.
I have not seen it.
It might. I haven't seen it. My daughter begged me to go see it, but she really wanted to go see it just because she wanted to trash a movie theater. So we didn't go because that was at the height of the stupid chicken jockey thing. And that's all she wanted. She wanted to just scream chicken jockey and throw popcorn around the theater. And I was like, no, we're not going to do that. We live in a small town and you will not be forgotten. And then I think some movie theaters somewhere here in the States, not where I live, hosted intentional like chicken jockey showings of it, where you could mess up the movie theater, and that was part of the experience.
Yeah.
And I was like, that just feels wrong. But I guess I'd have to go with The Last of Us on this one, because it's the one thing I've seen, and it wasn't. Yeah, I wouldn't call it objectionable. It just wasn't my favorite thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, probably.
It's the best thing here. But it's so weird that Sonic 3 not only deserved a nomination, out of all of these, it deserved to win. It's not like a flawless masterpiece or anything, but it's a really good adaptation of Adventure 2. Keanu Reeves is awesome. Just some great moments in that movie.
Yeah, there's some very legitimately very anime moments in that movie that I've not seen in any other adaptation of a video game movie before. And there's just, it has a lot of highs in it for what it's worth.
I'm sad to say I still haven't seen this movie. It came out right around the time that Rosie moved here. Yeah. And I was like desperate to go see it. And she has not seen either 1 or 2. And so we kind of made this pact that we would watch those 2 together, and then we'd go see 3. And it's been a year, and we haven't watched them. So
you've also got to watch the Knuckles TV show, which was nominated last year, despite being trash.
Somehow.
Here we are.
Yeah. So I would say Sonic 3 though, like just based on the quality of Sonic 2, I have no doubt that 3 would be better than what I see on this list.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree with you. 3 seems like a safe bet there.
Yeah. Next year's going to be good. Next year we have the Mario Galaxy movie, the Silent Hill movie. That's going to be a good list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for Mario Galaxy. Like that is, it's funny because I was actually in Paris when the Galaxy movie leaked. I was at that event for Pokemon X and Y. Or Pokemon Legends ZA, sorry. And I was on a boat, and a lady was singing to us during dinner. And I was sitting next to Roger's base, and I was like, oh my God, the Mario movie leaked. And this poor woman is like singing her heart out at our table, because Nintendo went all out for this thing. And I'm like showing him a picture of Old Spice deodorant with Luigi on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you see? I was like, Nintendo, you wasted your money on this. Like you shouldn't have put us on this fancy boat dinner, because I'm looking at deodorant.
Did you say we're saving anticipated game for the end, or did we just skip over that one?
Then we skipped over because we
did.
I interrupted with Content Creator of the Year, so we can go back to anticipated.
My goodness, yeah. Let's go to anticipated game. That's my bad. We should be. Yeah, that's a category I actually really want to talk about. So most anticipated game nominees are as follows: 007 First Light, GTA 6, Marvel's Wolverine, Resident Evil Requiem, and The Witcher 4. And this is a very interesting list, because I actually am excited for most of these games.
It's
like,
solid,
yeah. So I would say the only one on this list that I have any doubts about is 007. And that's not for no particular reason. I just haven't seen enough of it. And, my only experience with Hitman is the Switch 2 port, which didn't make the best first impression. So I haven't played a ton of World of Assassination since it got the patch. But, I mean, for me, this list it's tough, because every single other game is one that I'm super excited about. But I'd have to go GTA 6 on this one.
It's going to win. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe The Witcher 4 could nudge its way in, but GTA 6 is just too big. But yeah, every single game here is worthy of being here. I'm excited for, and I'm going to play Resident Evil Requiem, of course. But I won't say it's like my most anticipated thing, though. It's a little bit too much of a known quantity, I guess, to like have that ultra anticipation. So it's going to be great for sure. But something like GTA 6, that's a generational game. Whereas everything else here, apart from The Witcher 4, I think is something you tend to get fairly frequently.
Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil, of all these, this is the one that's coming to like all platforms, I believe, like even for Switch.
Oh, so is 007. That's on Switch too.
Oh, well, then I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I think that it's Witcher 4. We don't know for sure. GTA 6, the smart money is on it not coming to Switch. Although I said this back in a solo episode of The Win, I think there's a chance it could happen on Switch too. Do I think it's going to be day and date? Absolutely not. But
it's worth noting that both Rockstar and CD Projekt Red are actually big supporters of the Switch. Like The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk, both on Nintendo. Every Rockstar game apart from GTA 5 is on Nintendo. So I think it's really likely for both.
yeah, I mean, the thing that I say often is that if a game is going to be on the Series S, then there's a lot of value in trying to get it to work on the Switch 2. Because obviously the Switch 2 is massively more popular already than the Series S.
Yeah.
So
It's
if you're
funny.
already having to kind of dumb the game down to run on that, anything that can run on Series S can run on Switch 2.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say, to be clear, GTA 6 is not only the game I think will win, because I think that's an obvious thing, but it's out of this list, it's my most my personal most anticipated.
Yeah.
I'm a huge GTA fan, and so like you said, John, generational game. We probably won't get another one until the PlayStation 7 is coming out or something.
No. Which is wild because GTA's used to be like every year at one point, and now, yeah, it's every 2 generations.
Yeah, I mean, just the complexity of these games has grown so much that you can't really get one out in a reasonable amount of time anymore. So it's just kind of crazy, especially because Rockstar, is not only making GTA as like their only big franchise. Red Dead took several years for them to make as well.
True. Yeah, I mean, out of the nominations, I can't say anything obvious is missing. If you want to go to the Nintendo side, we have Fire Emblem and Mario Tennis. And, they're big games, but in terms of big global anticipation, they don't really come as close as these guys.
Right. I think in terms of heavy hitters, because we don't know when, say, the next 3D Mario is coming or the next Zelda is coming,
Yeah.
I can't think of something that would match up against Witcher 4 and GTA 6 and RE9. Unfortunately, I think this is probably one of those ones where they made the right call here. Like, there's not a Nintendo game that should fit in, while there are tons I'm excited about. And I would say Fire Emblem tops that list for me personally, just because it's a continuation of Three Houses. Then, I want that, but I definitely think it's not going to match up with these guys.
Yeah.
Let's see. Any what about you, Dan? I know it's got to be FE for you, right?
I'm sure. I mean, that's definitely not one that's going to be in the realm of people that are going to be talking about it. But yeah, Nintendo is so far separated when it comes to the Game Awards that I don't really consider them for any anticipated games. Like, we had Metroid Prime 4 in the past, but that also wasn't really a big one. Even now, it's like, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of excitement and hype for that game going into it. It's coming out in a couple of weeks, but I mean, yeah, the most anticipated games go to like other games, like for Rockstar, for Grand Theft Auto for the like 7th year in a row. So,
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's kind of a shame, but I mean, also the Game Awards aren't reality. So,
No.
I agree though. There is kind of a weird quietness about Metroid Prime 4 right now, which feels strange because for me, I would say that this is like the game that I've been waiting for the Switch 2. Like, since I saw the Switch 2, this is kind of like the more, I hate the term, but I can't think of a better one, like the more hardcore game I've been waiting for Switch 2.
This feels more like the title that would resonate more with Western audiences, of which this kind of awards show would be geared towards, but we don't really hear much about that to begin with. So yeah, it's an interesting situation. It's just because it's Nintendo, probably, at the end of the day.
I would have to agree with you on that. But let's move to a category that I think Nintendo kind of got snubbed on, and that is
big time.
Best Multiplayer. The nominees in this category are Arc Raiders, Battlefield 4, Elden Ring Night
6.
Rain. 6. Yeah, sorry. It's a Battlefield. It's one of them. Battlefield 6, Elden Ring Night Rain, Peak, and Split Fiction. And I don't know about y'all, but I've played a handful of these. surprising everyone on the panel, I'm sure, I've played Arc Raiders. I've played Night Rain, and I've played Split Fiction. I've heard great things about Peak, but I haven't had time yet. And Battlefield, I was never going to play.
Mm-hmm.
Peak is a funny little multiplayer title experience that you can have with others. It's one of those cooperative multiplayer games in which you're just trying to help each other get to the top. It's very much like a streaming game, and very much a streamer's game that have that kind of those silly moments, those fun interactions with other people. But it's still very well made. I think it's very much I think it's a very good multiplayer title for what it's worth.
Battlefield 6 is meant to be really good, especially as Call of Duty is struggling big time right now, both in sales and reputation. Battlefield's meant to be really great. I've not tried it myself, nor have I played Arc Raiders. But I played Split Fiction. I really enjoyed it.
Interesting.
I went in around the Switch 2 launch because I missed out on at the beginning of the year. And I had a great time. Super diverse, just really fun, and caters well to different skill levels, which is, that's ideal for a co-op game. I had a great time with that one. I thought it might actually be a contender for Game of the Year, considering how well it scored back in like January, February. But no.
That's very interesting to me. I had the complete opposite experience with Split Fiction, which I know I've talked about, so I won't labor the point. But Rosie and I played it, and we both literally fell asleep playing it. and I can't think of a more scathing indictment of a game than it literally put me to sleep. I think it just felt a bit too simplistic control-wise for me. Like, it felt difficult to impossible to fail at. Like, I never felt like I was ever doing anything of consequence when I played it. But I think the big issue for me here, though, is that I think Nintendo has had a lot of great multiplayer games this year, and I'm kind of surprised, frankly, Mario Kart World's not on this list.
I feel like the reputation of Mario Kart World is in this other universe compared to how I feel about it, because when it came out, I have my issues, and I still do. I think the battle mode could be better. I think free roaming should have just easy, 4-player or 8-player just going around together. But the actual tracks are brilliant. The doing Knockout Tour is fantastic. It's some of the most fun I've had playing multiplayer this year, both online and locally. I've loved just free roaming with my daughter. That's been a really good time. Yeah, it's easily one of my favorites of this year.
Yeah, I mean, Mario Kart feels like the most boring answer I could say for best multiplayer in a Nintendo game that's come out this year. I wish Kirby Air Riders could be on there. Having the paddock is amazing. Like, just going that kind of system for an online title is incredible. You can go in there, anybody can make a game. There could be multiple games within the same paddock happening at the same time, or you could just all be doing 16-player city trial, which has been amazing fun. Or chaotic fun. I have actually managed to get 16 people, for better or for worse, all in the same call in the same city trial, and that is just maddening. Doing games like the relays is so fascinating because there's 4 teams of 4, and you watch the perspective of the other player as they do their relay, and then you wait for your turn to go, and then everybody's watching you, and just having everyone in your ear just shouting. It's like you're watching the Super Bowl happening. There's so much excitement during those moments. That's the most fun I've had in a multiplayer title this year.
I think you should count content creation as part of online as well with Kirby, because the level people have gone to make those custom vehicles is nuts. It's like the Miitopia makeup system all over again, and it's super impressive, and it's really easy to access. All that stuff is awesome.
I did. I have to release the code later, but I was experimenting with it last night. I made the Transform Star is my favorite one because you can, if you know how to work it, you can actually have them shift back and forth for some thematic fun there. And so what I did was when it's the Flight Star, the flying version is Samus's gunship, and so when it transforms into the vehicle, it's the Viola. And so
that's cool.
That's cool.
It's been fun to play around with that kind of stuff. There's been so many interesting ideas that I've seen. You saw the Monkey Ball one just the other day.
Yeah,
I didn't see that
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the creativity I've seen from the Air Riders community. There's a lot going on there. I was actually going to suggest that in this category, I think also Kirby Air Riders would be a good fit, because as much as I don't really connect with the game, there's no denying that the community around it really loves it, and that's what multiplayer is about, right?
Exactly.
I can't think of a more fervent community than the Air Riders one currently. So it's kind of strange to me. I think it would have had a good shot at winning if it were included here strictly because of how much love there is for it within its, own group. But it kind of says something about the Game Awards judges that it's not here. And to be fair, I think the Game Awards has long had kind of a anti-Nintendo bias to it.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of media that votes on this stuff, and there's some sites which, they don't cover Nintendo. So it's not like Nintendo's a niche, it's just they aren't really their priority.
Yeah, I've always found it strange. I mean, in an era where we're kind of having fewer first-party Sony titles than ever, it feels like that kind of exact game that the Game Awards angle towards doesn't exist this year. So we're seeing a bit more diversity in the categories, but Nintendo is still kind of surprisingly absent. But I would say out of these games on this list, I would have to go with Mario Kart World. Like if it existed on the list itself, I guess I'd have to say Split Fiction, because I didn't really like Arc Raiders. Like I really actively dislike Arc Raiders. Not just because of the AI voice over BS that they put in the game, but just I played the game and I didn't think it was very fun. Yeah, anyway, let's move on to the next category. This one actually has a Nintendo nomination in it. This is Best Sports / Racing. And
dumb
you're never
category,
gonna
by
believe
the
what's in
way.
here.
Like racing games and sports games are very different beasts.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what I think will win, but let's go through the nominees. We have EA Sports Football Club 26, F1 25, Mario Kart World, Rematch, and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. And I don't know, just because this is a category that I don't usually track with the Game Awards, but it would be kind of bonkers for me to think that, unless maybe it's just really bad, I have no idea, that Football Club 26 wouldn't win Best Sports Game, because obviously that's like the most popular sport in the world, and there's no FIFA on here.
I don't know. Is that the audience that watches the Game Awards? It's hard to say. I think Rematch has a solid chance. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds is interesting because you go on Twitter or Bluesky or whatever, and people rave about it all the time. Then Sega released their sales. It's like it sold over 1 million, which is good, but it doesn't reflect, the whole like, oh, Mario Kart World sucks, Sonic Racing's the best kind of narrative that's thrown everywhere. Because I don't think people are actually as there for it as they seem to be. And I enjoyed the game. I thought it was great. It's the best Sonic Racing game since Transformed. Really, really good. But in my eyes, I think Mario Kart World just does more interesting than Cross Worlds does. And the core mechanics of grinding on walls and doing jumps, it elevates and it advances the kart racing. Whereas I feel like Cross Worlds is just kind of another racing game rather than a true advancement of the genre.
Yeah, I think people were very vocal about Sonic Racing Cross Worlds because there was an audience that was just kind of not impressed by Mario Kart World, and the excitement around Sonic is just that, it's trying to do something to compete with Mario Kart in a way. There's a lot of updates happening with this game constantly. There's more characters coming. There's more events happening with this one, and we're all just waiting to see Mario Kart to do something. As far as what it has there right now is perfectly fine, but we know that there could be so much more when you compare it to a game like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and all the DLC that got, and we're just kind of, we're just on the edge of our seat trying to see what's going to happen to this game in the future. But honestly, I do enjoy Mario Kart World a bit more than Sonic Racing Cross Worlds myself as well.
I have to agree with the two of you. I think that Mario Kart World for me is the more fun game. I didn't even pick up Sonic Racing Cross Worlds because I played the beta and was just very underwhelmed by it. I don't have room for a lot of racing games in my life. But But my kids and I, we play a lot of Mario Kart World together. They like, basically doing what you're doing, John, which is to explore the open world and look for the P switches and do stuff like that. So that's generally how we play the game. And I have no complaints with how Nintendo has set that up. It's a lot of fun to run around and just do stuff. My kids will shout out to me that they found something somewhere, and you can warp right to them and see what they're looking at.
Yeah.
I just have a lot of enjoyment playing that game with my kids. And for me, that's an easy way to really give me a positive opinion about a game, because there are so few games that my kids and I both agree on. This one's just an easy choice for me. Mario Kart World would be my number one out of these. I sincerely hope it wins.
I have my doubts, though.
I don't know.
I know. I was going to say
we've got football over here, so
yeah. The Sonic fans really could come out for Crossworlds, though, because they're very vocal. And Crossworlds is good. It's a good game. The Crossworld mechanic itself is very interesting, like having one lap and then go to another course and then the third lap. That's great. I don't really like a lot of its crossover stuff. Like the Sega stuff, great. I don't love SpongeBob being in Sonic. I think that feels, what's even the word? I don't want to say desperate. It feels weird. It feels out of place.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially when Sega has so many IP that they ignore that they could put in the game, giving a spot to SpongeBob SquarePants just, it doesn't feel like the right thing to do. It doesn't feel like you're adding to the game. It feels like you're trying to get little kids who still like SpongeBob. Because I don't think adults are going to go out and spend adult money for SpongeBob DLC on a game they might not have bought otherwise. So I think you're really trying to angle that for much younger children who have this game. And it just feels like you could have used that slot for, like, I remember seeing Ryo from Shenmue in the forklift in Sonic Racing, and I was like, oh my God, that to me felt really cool. This just feels like a money grab.
The game with Pac-Man in it, though, so I can't argue with Pac-Man being in crossing over with Sonic.
True. Yeah, isn't Mega Man going to be in it too? Or
yeah, he's going to be in there eventually too.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting choices. I can at least respect those because they're gaming. And it does kind of give me, it's funny because I was salty about it at the time, but when Sakurai said he only would do video game characters for Smash, I was like, come on, Goku though, And now I realize that, with SpongeBob as the example, that maybe Sakurai was right all these years. But anyway, yeah, I think this will probably go to a football game. I really will be upset about it though, if and when it does.
Rematch would be kind of cool, because at least that's very arcadey.
Is it?
Yeah. It's very much, well, I don't want to say it's like Rocket League without the cars, because that's so redundant, but it kind of is.
All right, I could mess with that. I've not seen anything of Rematch, so based on that, I'll have to check it out. I'll get back with you next week and tell you what I think.
I love the idea that if you put everyone in Rematch in cars, it just becomes Rocket League. Then,
yeah, kind of does.
There you go.
I love arcadey games. I was actually just playing NBA Hang Time, not Jam, Hang Time on the N64 last night, because I was just fiddling around with my N64 library because I'm playing the Analog 3D. And I miss stupid sports games like that. Like I was a werewolf that was doing slam dunks, I was like, I want stupid sports games back. Like I remember NFL Blitz on the original Xbox. You could just do like a wrestling style drop kick on a guy.
Yeah. We're actually we're in a really bad place for sports game these days, because outside of Mario sports, like what other tennis game do we have that isn't Mario Tennis these days? What other golf game do we have that isn't Mario Golf, other than Everybody's Golf?
Everybody's Golf.
Yeah, that's it though.
Yeah, everything else is almost simulation style. Like we don't have really a whole lot of arcade racers anymore. That genre is slowly starting to die out.
Yeah.
We certainly don't have non-simulation, American football, British football, basketball. Like all of those are so serious now. And I miss the days where you could play as Al Gore and do a slam dunk over Raiden from Mortal Kombat. Games need to be silly again. But Our next category is very unsilly. It is a best sim/strategy. And the nominees we have here are Final Fantasy Tactics, Jurassic World Evolution 3, Civ 7, Tempest Rising, The Altars, and 2 Point Museum. I'm gonna throw this one to you,
many
John.
opinions. Final Fantasy Tactics, love. The others, they're not really my thing. I've wanted to play Civ 7, but I haven't yet. But otherwise, yeah, I've got no opinion here, really.
Yeah, the only one I really gravitate towards here, honestly, is Final Fantasy Tactics. So some of the other ones I haven't even heard of. So that's just where I stand right now.
I actually own 3 of these. I have Final Fantasy Tactics, Civ 7, and 2 Point Museum. I got 2 Point Museum for Rosie, and I will say this. It's definitely not my top of the list, but it is second, which is surprising to me. I've watched her play a ton of it, and I've really wanted to get into it. I just haven't had time, but it looks charming in a very British way. There's constant voiceover in the PA, telling you not to do very obvious, stupid things. Just kind of playing on the fact that, someone at a museum is always doing something stupid. It also has kind of a Wallace and Gromit vibe to the art direction. But I would say that, for me, this is obviously Final Fantasy Tactics. Final Fantasy Tactics is one of the best remakes of a game I've ever played. Because it's very faithful to the original. And if for whatever reason you don't like the changes they made, you could just play the straight up original in it, which is how every remake should be. Every single one should have the ability to just let you play the game as it originally released, because it costs almost nothing to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say this is Tactics, and honestly, even looking at the list, I don't know how any of the other games would top it.
No. I haven't played Civ 7 yet, but from what I hear from the community, it's one of the lesser Civs. So I don't think many other games really have a chance against Tactics.
Yeah, I think Tactics
same
was a 10 out of 10 remake, so I just don't see anything coming. So an easy win in this case.
Yeah.
This category coming up is going to be my favorite one, because this is effectively the Nintendo category.
Is it best family? Is it best
of
family?
Course it
by
is.
any chance?
It's always a family one.
Of course it is. Best family, which basically means the Nintendo nominations. So best family includes DK Bonanza, Lego Party, Lego Voyagers, Mario Kart World, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and Split Fiction.
Split Fiction family friendly all the way through?
No.
It's not unfriendly, but it's definitely not gather the kids around kind of friendly.
I see.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, because I think that it kind of speaks to the bias of the panel in terms of I don't know that I'd call DK a family game, in the sense that it's a single player Nintendo AAA game. It's not meant to be played with your family.
It's a weird category, isn't it? Why do we divide up games that aren't rated E10? What worth is that?
Yeah,
I don't think I get it. But with Donkey Kong Bonanza, Derek Sunkai finished that game in a sys mode, and he was 4. He wasn't 5 at that point. A 4-year-old beat Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is crazy to me. But I guess that speaks to how accessible sys mode can be. But that's bonkers that a game that's I struggle to explore that world sometimes to find all the nooks and crannies, and this 4-year-old did it.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. I my kids are older than that, so I just kind of expect them to know how to play these games at this point. But yeah, it's a good point that I guess that does in a way make it a family game. I just kind of I struggle with the existence of this category, to be honest.
It's a dumb category.
It's a really dumb way to, it feels like this was their way of letting Nintendo in, when in reality it just kind of shines a light on the fact that they very obviously don't consider Nintendo games for categories they should be in.
Yeah.
Gosh,
I want to give a little shout out to Lego Party, actually. That's done by SMG Studio. And if you were paying very close attention to the Switch in its first year, you might remember Death Squared from the eShop.
I do.
That's these guys. They've gone to make a Lego game.
That's actually kind of rad. Death Squared is good too.
It was really good. So that studio's come a long way since the year one of Switch.
I deeply associate this is kind of sad. I deeply associate Death Squared with feeling very ill, and that's because my best friend and I turned Death Squared into a drinking game.
Oh no.
So yeah, and we died a lot, and anytime we died, we would take a drink, and so most of my time spent playing Death Squared, I was on the verge of passing out, and so it's anytime I think of playing it, I just kind of get this weird feeling in my stomach, like I've had too much to drink. But it's a great game. It is a really fun game, and that's why we ended up doing that, because we ended up playing it a lot, and so we found a way to make it more interesting. I would say on this list, and this I struggle with this, but I would say if I really take the family game idea seriously, as much as I don't want to, like I'm very reluctantly saying Mario Kart World, because it's the only game on this list I played with my whole family.
Yeah. The best game here is probably Donkey Kong. But
yes.
the game to play with your family, I guess Mario Kart.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, with Derek's son was able to beat Donkey Kong Bonanza because of the accessibility options that game had available to it. And I've played Mario Kart World on occasion with my sisters now, and something that they struggled with in the original it's just because there's a lot of things to pay attention to at the same time. Even with the accessibility, they often forget to use their items. And something that I don't think everybody knows in Mario Kart World is now there's an option to have it so that when you get an item, you'll just automatically use it. And so now they're a bit more, they especially my youngest little sister, she'll tend to forget that she has that there because it's not as obvious. Even though now every time you have an item, it like drags behind you. But now she can keep up a bit better because of the other accessibility options, which is, keep you on track, keep you accelerated, and use the items so that she can just feel like she's participating with the rest of us. So I appreciate that, to be able to continuously help the rest of my family be able to play this game together on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, Mario Kart has a great history of being really helpful to younger players. Like when my youngest was 4 or 5, she was playing on a Switch Lite that I got her, and she would play Mario Kart 8. Obviously. And, she was able to at least stay in the race and not get frustrated. And, thanks to all of the features Nintendo put in, she doesn't need those anymore, thankfully. But, back then she was able to. And she actually got frustrated when she found out that was turned on by default when she started playing World. So she turned it off. She's like, I know how to make turns now. I was like, yeah. All right. But yeah, I would say Mario Kart World is an easy one for this, but I do agree, John, DK Bonanza is the better game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, for a category that Nintendo is almost certainly going to have no entrance in, best fighting game.
This is a
weird
category.
The nominees here are 2XKO, which is a game that is in beta. Capcom Fighting Collection 2, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, and Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage.
So there's one game there that's actually new and released.
Yeah. There's only one title here that actually fits the category of being, a new title released in this year.
Yeah. We were talking yesterday about this in our meeting, and there should be a category for best preservation, best remaster, whatever you want to call it, because this stuff is valuable, absolutely. But it's so odd to have all these nominations for best fighting game of 2025, and you get all these games that aren't really from 2025. Capcom Fighting Collection 2, brilliant, but I think just in terms of what I feel is right, I think there's no other choice than Fatal Fury.
Yeah, it's interesting because in a moral sense, I agree with you. Like Fatal Fury is the only game on this list that should qualify. And to be fair, I've played Fatal Fury. It's okay. Like it's an all right game. I wouldn't say that it is groundbreaking in any way. I wouldn't say it's particularly exciting. There were some major missteps thanks to Saudi money in this game. Like you've got Cristiano Ronaldo in the game for
stuff.
No reason. You've got a DJ that I don't think most people have ever heard of as a playable character. But then they kind of rallied. They introduced Ken and Chun-Li, which is really, really cool to have in a Fatal Fury game. And they did well with them. Like they're my favorite characters to play in that game. But if I have to, so I would agree with you, John, like based on, the list here, I would have to nominate Fatal Fury just because it's the only game that meets the actual criteria, in my opinion. But if I'm evaluating the games in the list the same way we did with the last category, it would be Capcom Fighting Collection, because those are just generationally great fighting games. But yeah, I agree that I don't think it belongs here to begin with.
Power Stone always wins. You can't beat that.
For me, it's Capcom vs. SNK 2, which having that is a dream come true. How we don't have a CVS 3 is beyond me.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
There's a lot of room for discussion of having, as we mentioned already, just a preservation category where a title's just, collections or, just remakes, remasters of titles that have been preserved that are still available to play in the modern era should belong. And yeah, but just by the sheer, no matter how lackluster it might have ended up being in the long run, like just by sheer elimination, Fatal Fury would be the one to just select for the winner of this category, hopefully. But you never know with the Game Awards.
Yeah,
agreed. But yeah, it feels like, some of these categories might also end up pretty thin if they don't include remakes and remasters and stuff. But yeah, I would say I would give this to Fatal Fury on principle, not necessarily on quality. And I don't think there's a Nintendo game to nominate here because we haven't had a new Nintendo fighting game yet.
No.
But let's go ahead and move to our next category. And this is going to be a rough one for me personally. This is Best RPG. And we have Avowed, Clair Obscure Expedition 33, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Monster Hunter Wilds, and The Outer Worlds 2. And usually, in just about any category, I've played at least half of them. I've played precisely one game in this, and it's not Clair Obscure.
Oh, have you not played Expedition 33 yet?
I haven't, and it's because I fell into a Persona 3 Reload-sized hole.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm 50 hours into that hole now, and I refuse to give up until I've rolled credits. Which is funny, because my, Rosie is playing Expedition 33 right now, and every now and then I'll look over while she's playing. I'm like, that looks kind of cool, and then I'm like, I wonder how long that's gonna take.
It's probably gonna win everything it's nominated for, because it's phenomenal in practically every way.
And it's nearly a dozen categories. So here comes the Clair Obscure Suite this year, everybody.
There'll be zero shock. It's I guess we'll go through this, but I can't think of a single thing it wouldn't win in.
I've played the opening moments of the game, and while I didn't dislike them, it also didn't just immediately pull me in. I have no doubt that it's a great game. Like I've been watching Rosie play it, and when I look over, I'm like, yeah, that's a game I want to play. I just haven't found time. Like I think she might be in the third act now. And every time I look over, I'm like, that's a cool monster. That's an interesting world. The only thing I'll say, and this is the most superficial thing, is that character heads seem like 10% too big. Like sure. I don't get it. Like every time I look over at, like, some of the characters have like really small frames and really big heads. But I played Final Fantasy VII where everybody had block hands.
Do you know what a big snub is actually? What category would you put Fantasy Life in? Is it an RPG? Is it a sim game? Because it's nominated for neither.
That's tough. I would think because of the action elements, I would put it in RPG.
Yeah.
And that is a huge oversight. That's a great game.
We've got games here which are actually quite controversial. Like Monster Hunter Wilds, people loved it at first, but You talk to basically any Monster Hunter fan now, and they'll tell you that it fell off the edge of the earth, and you see that in the sales too. It's being outsold by games like Devil May Cry 5, which are really old now. I'd rather see Fantasy Life here than that.
Yeah, I think people kind of forget Fantasy Life because the big update has taken quite a while to come. Because I think it comes out as of the recording of this in about 2 or 3 weeks. And I think that's going to do a lot to reinvigorate the player base for that. But I feel like a lot of us, myself included, played through that game really intensely and then put it down. Like I probably spent 100 hours on that game in 2 weeks. Like I put in a lot of time and then I was just burnt out and I stopped. But I agree. It should be here. And honestly, we're here just based on, and again, don't come for me in the comments because I haven't played it, based on the fact that it would be the only other game I played, I would vote for that. I have no doubt Clear Obscure will win this though, just from what I've heard from everybody who's been playing it. And I don't think there's a Nintendo RPG to put up here.
Xenoblade X came out this year. It had new stuff, but it's the same old game, really.
Yeah, I did not play enough of X. I started it and I actually liked it, but I just didn't get. It's one of those games where the time commitment is one of those where it scared me off. I do want to finish that though.
We also had Pokemon. That's an RPG. But,
that's true. I would put Legend ZA up. I actually really, really liked Legend ZA. Let's see. All right. I'm surprised. Yeah. What would you pick out this list? I mean, obviously Clear Obscure is going to win, but would you put up a Nintendo game and would it be your vote if you did?
Probably Clear Obscure, honestly. I mean, if we're going to be talking about that so much, there's no reason to talk about it now.
Yeah.
It's going to come up in so many.
It's going to have many moments.
I didn't know that you played it, Daniel. I'm almost surprised.
Why?
All right. I don't know how you find time for these. I feel like you
it's
you
a short
Brandon
game. You
can
can finish
it
in like 20 hours.
It's not a Persona. I can tell you that much. It's not a Persona.
Oh, really? Because I've been watching Rosie play it for I think like 45 hours, and I was just like,
whoa. It's 3 acts long, and the first act is like 5 hours long, maybe like 6, 7, and then everything else is fairly similar.
You might have just changed my whole gaming schedule. Well, I was under the impression that it is like a Persona. And so I'm like I said, I'm 50 hours into Persona 3 and I just don't have time for another 50 plus hour game.
This is more like a Chrono Trigger.
All right, then. You know what? I might start playing that tonight. we'll see. Because I have it, I own it, and I've played through part of Act 1. I just haven't gotten very far. All right. Anyway, like Daniel said, we're going to have a lot of opportunities to talk about Clear Obscure. So let's move on to Best Action Adventure, or as I like to call it, the Sony category. For this one, we have Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Hollow Knight Silksong, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and again, Split Fiction.
This is such a vague genre. I never really know what it means.
Yeah.
It's like,
but
out
of this list, I would have to say it has to be Silksong for me. And that's kind of a shame because I also really like Ghost of Yotei. But I just think Silksong is the better crafted game.
There's no like Metroidvania category, is there? Like that's probably the closest to describing Hollow Knight.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
Surprising that we're not going to see Silksong as much as a game like Clear Obscure throughout these categories because it does do a lot of amazing things in itself. A game that's taken many years to come out. The fact that it's kind of a meme at this point. But it did, in fact, live up to its expectations, I believe, and exceeded those for a game that, in my opinion, is kind of too long. Honestly, there might be too much in this game, as I mentioned before in a different video. But the things that it does accomplish is very well done. It's a very masterfully crafted title, all things considered, and a great improvement from what we've seen in the original Hollow Knight.
Yeah, I think this is just kind of a universal one. This is a pure passion project. They basically had infinite money and put it all into the game, and they did what they wanted to do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that this is a slam dunk category, which is surprising. I would have liked to see Yotei get some more shine. I don't think it's a perfect game, but I think it's a really good one. But unfortunately, Silksong is just it is the much better game. But yeah, an easy one. I don't think Nintendo really could have put anything up in that category that I would have argued with. Like, you could possibly classify Bonanza as an action game because you are just punching and smashing and destroying things, but I don't think that's necessary. I think that's a bit reductive to Bonanza to call it just that. The same way it's reductive to
platforming
Silksong.
category or not?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
There's some really weird choices here.
Yeah, I'm looking through. We are at best action game.
Well, we had action adventure and then we have action.
Yep.
We sure do. That's coming up next.
All right.
Let's just.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and use that as a chance to segue to action games that apparently aren't adventurous. Best action game nominees are Battlefield 6, Doom: The Dark Ages, Hades 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Shinobi Art of Vengeance. And I'm just going to come out and say I feel real sad about having to say this, but it'd have to be Hades 2. And
yeah, it's going to be Hades 2.
Shinobi Art of Vengeance is a game that I love, adore even, but it's not better than Hades 2.
Shinobi is the most creative game of these, though. Everything else is pretty iterative of past games, which, that's not a bad thing. It doesn't take away. But Shinobi it's very forward-thinking, does a lot of new things. But Hades 2 is just crazy, crazy high quality.
Yeah, I've been enjoying Hades 2 a lot. It is one of my favorite games this year, and honestly, I think that had Silksong not released, people would be touting it as the best indie that came out this year. Like, it would be
Probably
the indie of the year easily in any other year. But I agree with you, John. It is more Hades, whereas Shinobi takes that series and evolves it in a way that I can't imagine them ever making another Shinobi that plays, anything other than like this. Because it fuses classic Shinobi with like Metroidvania elements that I really like. But yeah, just not going to win this category, unfortunately.
Just a year with a lot of different, a big variety of interesting titles this year. So it's hard to like nail down which one could win over another in a category like this.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna, for our next category, I'm gonna ask if we should even talk about this because I don't know. This is best VR/AR, and I know, John, you have a MetaQuest, but I can tell you I have not played any VR this year.
I've played VR games from prior years. I think Deadpool VR might be my only new game I've played this year.
Is it any good?
It's pretty good. I have fond memories of the original, Deadpool game from like Xbox 360, but this one's pretty good. It's nice just messing around as Deadpool. It's nice, like the humor's good. It's all pretty spot on. I wouldn't say it's anything like you have to play, though. It's just kind of a pretty neat game.
Fair enough. Yeah, I feel like VR in general is kind of waning. Like there's not a lot of interest in it. I'm very curious to see what the Steam frames will do to kind of reinvigorate that space. Because if anyone can make VR mainstream, it'll be Valve. I don't have a whole lot of faith in anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if Half-Life 3 comes out and it's got like a VR way to play, like a VR mode, it's probably going to be flat screen for the most part. But if there's a VR mode, that's still an easy win for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like Half-Life Alyx was when it came out, right? Like that was a slam dunk. All right, so our next category here, and this is an interesting one. I'm going to bring it up strictly because Daniel's on the panel. This is best mobile game. and Daniel already knows why I'm bringing this up. But we've got Destiny Rising, Persona 5 The Phantom X, Sonic Rumble, Uma Musume Pretty Derby, which I have questions about that. And Wuthering Way. Is it Wuthering? Wuthering?
Wuthering Way.
Woo-wa.
Aren't most of these games quite poor?
Woo-wa.
Just call it Woo-wa.
Well, I don't know, man, but I got to talk about this first because I've not seen this game. Uma Musume is a horse girl game?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, that thing.
That one.
What is that?
That was a big hit when that came out, especially with streamers as well. This is a game that's actually been out in Japan for like a couple of years now, and this is the English localization of it here. Like it's still pretty much in Japanese, but just Texas translated to the localization.
The bronies are going to have a field day with this game. I don't like it. It feels wrong.
There are people that'll tell you that it legitimately deserves to get some credit here as a really interesting mobile title. Oh, gosh, how do I even describe it? Because I forgot. I don't know. There was a game I wanted to compare it to, but I forgot which one it was. Because it's like you have these characters. You're like their trainer, so you're raising their stats with different throughout the course of a year or so, or a few years. And so you give them like you set their training schedule to increase their stamina, their speed, etc. And then you essentially watch them do the races based on the amount of coaching that you do for them.
Are they horses though? Are they horses or girls?
It's funny because every single girl in here is their names and their representation is based on a real life racetrack horse, and so.
What are you saying, Daniel? What are these nuts?
Yeah.
There's a line being
true.
crossed here. A moral or philosophical line.
I thought Wuthering Waves sounded really familiar. And it's familiar because it was nominated last year for the same category.
Yeah.
This game came out in 2024, May of 2024. It's by no means a 2025 game.
So we just put whatever up.
They're like, oh, we need 5 games, but we can't think of 5 mobile games. Were there 5?
It's funny because most of these titles actually have been around longer than they think. Because like Persona and Uma Musume have been in Japan longer. Have been translated longer than some of the other games.
Are these any good though? Is Persona 5 the Phantom X any good? That was the question. I came in here and then I saw Horse Girls and I got confused.
It's like
that good.
It's like a gacha for Persona 5. I don't know. I didn't really get pulled into it myself. I have not played this very much at all, but yeah, it does its own thing for sure. Or there's more characters that become Phantom Thieves, but that's its own story. Didn't really stick with that, honestly.
All right. If it can't grab Daniel, it can't grab any of us. It's a Persona game that Daniel didn't play. I'm gonna take that as an indictment of it. I'm gonna vote for the Horse Girl game.
Sure.
There you go.
I don't know why. Sure enough. Horse lady game. All right. Let's go on to best debut indie. I know Sonic Rumble objectively is probably the funnest game in that list, but for the memes I had to go for Uma Musume. But all right, for best debut indie, we have Blueprints, Clair Obscur, Dispatch, and Despelote. And I've heard great things about 3 of the 4 of these games. I'm not super familiar with Despelote. You know what, though? Just in the interest of being different, I would have to go with Blueprints for this one, because for a while, everybody I knew played this game.
Yeah. I think there's a strong chance Blueprints might win, just because I think Expedition 33 kind of toes the line about whether it's indie, because the studio did just form, and this is their first game, but they also come from AAA talent from Ubisoft. They were also published by Kepler. They had a big retail release. I feel like a lot of people may go to some of the underdogs here, like Blueprints and Dispatch, rather than stuff that comes from AAA talent.
Yeah, I think the issue for me here is that obviously Clair Obscur, while it may fit the criteria in a definitional sense, it doesn't feel indie. They had a huge budget with millions of dollars and loads of people working. Like, it doesn't, to me, that's antithetical to what an indie is. And while I don't know anything about the development cost of Dispatch, I do know that they got, freaking Jesse from Breaking Bad to voice a character in that game. And Clair Obscur has the guy who played Daredevil in the MCU.
You got Charlie Cox in there. It's hard to say like this is the best representation of a debut indie.
Yeah, exactly. So without knowing anything about Despelote, I'd say Blueprints, just based on the fact that it's the only one in this list that I can verifiably say feels and plays like what I expect an indie title to be, while the others kind of reach a higher standard, in my opinion, of production value and budget.
Yeah. I guess you can also see it as like, if you look at the movie industry, a lot of movies, they set up new companies per movie, like a new limited company. Is that indie? No, because it's these these seasoned filmmakers coming together to make another movie. It's not that they're starting from scratch. They've got all their experience with them, and I think that's a huge part of what indie is. If it's one guy who's left like a big AAA studio and's working on something on their own, yeah, that guy's indie. But if you've got the band back together, I don't think so.
I agree. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, it is harder to toe the line of what qualifies as indie. It gets blurrier and blurrier every year, it feels like.
Yeah.
This next one is going to be interesting because this is just best independent game. And there's a lot of heavy hitters in this list. So we've got Absalom, we've got Ball Pit, we've got Blueprints, we've got Clair Obscur again, we've got Hades 2, and we've got Silksong. And I feel like this one is going to be particularly contentious because Clair Obscur and Silksong are in it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to point to this as like the true battleground for which of these games was more deserving of Game of the Year. Because I don't even know if what's nominated for Game of the Year yet, but obviously Clair Obscur is. I don't know if Silksong is.
I think Silksong is. But everything here deserves to win. Like, there's nothing here that shouldn't be here. But I'm going to go the same as last time and say Expedition probably. It's going to win a ton of other stuff, and I hope people vote for other things for indie categories. So I'd like to see Hades win. Silksong has a very strong chance, though.
This is kind of an interesting category because logically, Clair Obscur I think is going to be the one that wins.
Yeah.
My favorite game in the list is Silksong, and the game I want to vote for is Ball Pit. Because realistically, I don't think Ball Pit's going to win anything, and it's a great game that deserves to win something.
Yeah.
It has been an obsession in my house for the last couple of months. Like I've been playing it on Switch 2, Rosie played it on PS5, and there were plenty of nights where we would just tuck in and play that game until like 1 or 2 in the morning and then go to bed and repeat it the next day. So, I think it deserves something, but I don't think it's gonna take anything home.
Yeah.
Daniel, is this a Clair Obscur or a Silksong moment for you?
I mean, man, there's, as John said, all these deserve some kind of recognition for being in this category. But I mean, I've definitely played more of Silksong than I have of Clair Obscur, so it's harder to weigh in for me. I would like Silksong to probably take this one because I know Clair Obscur is going to probably take it away with most of the other categories that it is in the first place.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that Clair Obscur is this year's Baldur's Gate, right? Like it just feels like it's probably going to sweep everything. And speaking of Baldur's Gate, we have it nominated for Best Community Support. So the nominees in this one are Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky.
Some weird choices there. FF14 hasn't really had much this year, nor has Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I'm not big on either of those games, but I haven't heard anything about them.
Like, Larian are always supporting Baldur's Gate, but it's not like they've done much. there's small things, really. And then Final Fantasy 14 hasn't really had anything.
No, it hasn't.
I mean, Helldivers 2, as much as I like that game, like, I can't imagine voting for that. Just because it feels like updates have been kind of scattershot and have often caused more issues than they've solved. It feels weird, but I guess I'd have to go Fortnite. Like, it's the only game I've really played a lot of and seen consistent updates for. And I don't love the idea of voting for it. I recently played a new mode they introduced called Delulu for whatever reason. Because it's still just Fortnite, except proximity chat is on. And I do have to say I had a lot of fun with that, just because getting to hear the unfiltered thoughts of people who kill you in Fortnite is hilarious and terrible. Like, I can't tell you how often I got killed, and then I just hear, bitch. Like, right after I died. I'm like, you already got me.
Yeah, that deserves to win.
Bro, proximity chat makes any game better by default.
Yeah. When we say community support, What do we mean by that? Like, do we just mean the developers communicating to the community? Because it's different patches, right?
That's a good question. I would say it's partially updating the game and partially engaging with your community. Because I think if you acknowledge the issues your community has, but you do nothing to materially improve them, then you're not really doing anything. But also, I think the reverse could be true. If you're constantly updating a game like Fortnite, but you're not really engaging with the community around it, then you're also not really meeting the objective.
Yeah. So I just skipped ahead, and the next one is best ongoing, and it's the same nominations pretty much.
Oh, that's a good point.
Well,
so you know what? I would withdraw.
Based on best ongoing and looking at this list here, I figured that the baseline was that just games that are still being relevant and held up by the community that is still playing them, like Final Fantasy 14 will always have their people playing these kind of titles. Fortnite does have the updates, but these games are all just being continuously held up by, I'm assuming held up by the community that's still playing them.
That's a good point. Then I would probably shift my vote on this one because I'm not looking ahead, so I didn't know what was coming up next. I would shift my vote on this one to, I guess Helldivers, because the Helldivers community is still incredibly strong. Like, it's not as big as it once was, but I mean, I'm in a couple Discords that are just packed with players who are constantly, trying to fight against whatever the hell is going on in the Galactic War currently. I'm sure communities like Final Fantasy 14 are probably more vibrant, but that's the one that I personally know of and engage with, so that would get my vote.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they've made a mistake breaking these into two categories, because we're going to get to this in just a second. It's basically the exact same games apart from one.
Yeah, and it's easy to misunderstand the intention of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's just use this as a jumping off point to talk about that next one. Best ongoing, like you said, John, it's almost all the same stuff. Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky. 4 out of the 5 are the same, and then you have Marvel Rivals.
It probably is Marvel Rivals for this one. They've introduced a bunch of new heroes, and the reception every time is huge.
Yeah, I would agree with this. I would say that if Fortnite Chapter 7 launched before the Game Awards, then it might have a chance, but they only just did previews. I think we're still like a couple weeks out. So I think it will either happen at the Game Awards or like right after is when Chapter 7 launches. But yeah, Marvel Rivals, I can't think of a game that has on this list a game that has a better reputation currently with the community.
Yeah.
Easy stuff. Nintendo doesn't do ongoing.
Fire Emblem Heroes will be on forever until the end of time.
Yeah, we are getting some new stuff in Super Mario Run for the movie. All right, let's talk about games for impact. And I'm about to look as deep as a puddle here. We have Consume Me, Despelote, Lost Records, South of Midnight, and Wanderstop. And I'm going to be real, I haven't played a single one. And this is the first category where I haven't played a game in it.
I played a bit of South of Midnight. I liked it, but not enough to keep playing it. So I have very little to say here. I mean, it's cool that it's a game that gives a lot of a spotlight to a person of color. There's some great culture in there, but yeah, I'm definitely not one to speak here.
I haven't got much input for the categories as well. Nominees, rather.
We've got our homework.
Yeah, for sure.
You can only play so many games a year. All right, I'm sorry, everyone.
That's 100% accurate. Like I do think that's kind of a big thing. Is there's almost an embarrassment of choice, right? Like we have so many games available to play and only so much time. Like it's either way. The next one we have is innovation and accessibility. I don't know that any of us are uniquely qualified here, but I'll read off the nominees. We have Assassin's Creed Shadows, Atomfall, Doom the Dark Ages, Football Club 26, and again, South of Midnight.
Yeah, we're not really the crowd to be exploring these features that much because we don't have any disabilities. But I love celebrating when games do. And I cannot give a definitive answer on this, but I know Shadows has really good accessibility options, but I'm not familiar enough with the other ones.
Yeah, of these, I've played Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I do know that it presents all those things right up front for you to choose when you start the game for the first time. I think that's great. It's something a lot of games are doing these days. I couldn't tell you if any of these are better than the others in that respect, though.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Let's go ahead. Okay, here's one we can talk about, and one I'm particularly interested to hear about from you, John. Okay. This is best performance. And for those of you that somehow don't know, John is also a voice actor who has been in several games. So we have Ben Starr for Expedition 33, Charlie Cox for Expedition 33, Erika Ishii for Ghost of Yotei, Jennifer English for Expedition 33, Konatsu Kato for Silent Hill F, and Troy Baker for Indiana Jones.
Just half of them were Claire Obscure.
Yeah. Well, Expedition 33 does have some of the best acting of any game. And it's interesting how they did it too, because they're basically acting on top of other people's performances. So if you look at the behind the scenes, it's all motion captured by a different actor. And those actors are voicing the dialogue while doing it. And then they bring in Ben Starr, Charlie Cox, Jennifer English. And they just have them match the lip flaps. It's dubbing, it's ADR, which makes it even more impressive how well they act when they're trying to match someone else's timing, because that's quite restrictive. Mm-hmm. But then Troy Baker as well. He's basically doing an impression. Like he doesn't own the role of Harrison Ford. He's just trying to do an impression of him the entire time. He's very convincing at doing that. But it's interesting how, you know, four out of 6 of these nominees are basically matching someone else's performance, which is, I think that's really interesting, actually. But they do it really well there. And then you've got the other 2 who are forging their own performance there. So if Charlie Cox actually spoke about this himself, he said that the award should go to his performance capture artist, because he is owed to a lot of the actual performance here. But if I were to choose anyone, I think this goes beyond just Expedition to her other games. It's Jennifer English. She is exceptional as Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate. And Baldur's Gate is massive. Like, there's thousands upon thousands of hours of dialogue in that game. So she's shown not only can she do that in Baldur's Gate through performance capture for a huge variety of lines, but she's also the best actress in Expedition, in my opinion. And Charlie Cox is great too, but he doesn't do as much work as the others, whereas Jennifer has some fantastic moments and delivers them really well.
I do really like Jennifer's performance in Baldur's Gate 3. I haven't played enough Expedition to hear her in that. I would have to go with Troy Baker just because he sounds just like Harrison Ford.
He does. It's crazy good, yeah.
It's scary how close it is. Yeah, with the others, like I played Ghost of Yotei in Japanese, so that wasn't Erika Ishii's performance. And then I haven't played Silent Hill F, but I do really respect what Troy Baker did with Indy. What about you, Daniel?
You can tell that the 3 here in Expedition 33, like they were the most challenged. They did the most range of the ones that you see here, and I think that's really impressive in itself. Of course, they're, as John said, they're, you know, trying to match the performance of someone else, but at the same time, like there's still that vocal range. You have to capture that mood, you have to feel that I think they all did very well in. I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe Ben Starr was the one that did the most range of the ones here in terms of performances. I mean, they're all fantastic, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I felt Ben's performance is good. I think they directed him to be how's the best way to say this? I think they directed him to basically do Clive. So I kind of felt like I was seeing stuff I've already seen from Ben a lot of the time. Whereas Jennifer, I think, got just really, really great emotional moments in there. But they're all fantastic, though.
Yeah, all great performers. I think that this isn't one where I think there's like an obvious right or wrong answer. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. This is kind of one of the more technical ones, but I actually have a pretty strong opinion on this one. Our next category is Best Audio Design, where we have Battlefield 6, Claire Obscure, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, and Silent Hill F. And for me, this is an easy one. for Ghost of Yotei. I played a lot of this in headphones, and just the way that, you can hear hoof beats on different terrain, and they all sound like, if you're going through leaves, you can hear the leaves crunching under your horse hooves, or if you're walking through them, you can hear like wind sweep around your character. It feels like you're really placed within the game world, and it's the only game on this list that I've played that I can think of, and I've played some of these. we're getting to the categories where I've played fewer and fewer of these, but of the games I've played on this list, which is 3 of them, I feel like Yotei had the best sound design.
Yeah. So this is distinct from soundtrack. This is audio design. Yeah. Expedition 33 does have very good audio design in addition to the soundtrack, and I think it's very important when it comes to parrying, because you can parry by visuals, by looking at the swings, the arc of the swing, but sometimes those parry windows are quite unpredictable, and you've got to listen out for how the audio design is giving you that cue. So that's a very strong part too. But sorry, you go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I was going to say, I will say I can agree with you on that. I literally observed exactly what you're saying last night. Rosie was fighting a boss, and I've of course have never seen this, but this boss did multiple elemental attacks where he swung. I think it was just a very long sword, but he would imbue it with an element and swing it. And I was able to get the parry timing from hearing like the sound of the sword cutting the air.
Yeah.
Right. Like I could watch his animations, and I'm like, oh, when's she going to do it? When's she going to do it? But then you'd hear this audio cue, with very different timing in between. But I could tell that you absolutely had to listen for that sound to know when to parry.
Yeah, it's important. But I think outside of combat, the audio design is good. But I think Ghost of Yotei does do a better job just conveying a more living, breathing world through its sound compared to Expedition.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. What about you, Daniel? Have you got any strong opinions on the world of sound design?
I feel like I have more to say about sound design in the next category for like soundtrack, because I think a game that's in there should also be here as well.
Interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and jump over to that. So this is best score in music, and this is Silk Song, Hades 2, Player Obscure, Ghost of Yotei, and Death Stranding 2. And Daniel, I'll throw it right to you.
I feel like Silk Song has the most masterful sound design that I've seen in a long time. I played that entire game, nearly that entire game, with my headphones on, and just the entirety of that world, you hear every little bit of gravel that Hornet steps on, every texture, whether it's wood, stone, gravel, when you swing your nail on your needle on nearly everything, especially like when you swing it on bells, the echo, the chime when you swing on certain bells at different locations just vibrates through your ears. And for everything from like the squishy noises of the bugs to the little pitter pattering, everything about that just involves you into the world. And from the very enclosed spaces where there's no echo to the very wide halls where there is a strong echo, like that, and accompanied with the soundtrack as well. Christopher Larkin does an amazing soundtrack as well, as we did with the original Hollow Knight. That thing, I think that in total deserves everything from audio to sound design to soundtrack in this category.
It is weird not to be nominated for audio design, because for everything you said, it's just exceptional. For soundtrack, I think Expedition is my favorite. Every single song in that game is just brilliant. And there's already concerts for it. Like the game came out this year, and they're filling out concert halls. That's how good the soundtrack is. So many great vocal pieces, great orchestral ones. There's some jazz in there. It's got a lot of range, and it's probably one of my favorite video game
Beautiful
scores.
piano.
Yeah, it's just great.
I will say that, again, my lack of Expedition experience is showing here. Of this list, I actually would have gone for Hades 2 strictly for the soundtrack. I really love just kind of the background music in Hades 2. I'm sad that the earworms from Persona 3 are not in here. Persona 3 Reload has been in my head. I bought the vinyl, and my kids hum the music because they hear it so much in our house. Like my daughter, we have like one of those CarPlay stereos where you can hook up your phone to it, and my daughter just put the Persona 3 soundtrack on Spotify in the car. And we were driving around town listening to it. And she's like, it's like we're in Persona. And I was like, yeah, it's actually kind of good for just listening to while you do mundane things.
Yeah.
It is weird to see. Sorry, you go ahead, Daniel.
I was just gonna say that I would love to see that, but it's also most of that soundtrack we've heard already. A lot of it is redone, it's remade. There are new singers and vocalists in there as well, and there are new songs entirely, like "Color Your Night." Like the nighttime theme was not there at all in the original. It was always just the same daytime theme, even at nights. But
interesting.
But yeah,
it was also a 2024 game, right?
Unless you're talking about Switch 2.
I guess so.
That's where I've played it, 30 FPS and all. I've been in love with it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with this list. I will say that I agree with our friend Tim Geddes at Kind of Funny that Mario Kart World should have been on this list, though.
Yeah, it's really weird that it's not. Some fantastic original scores, and then you've got 200 reorchestrated tracks from across the entire Mario series, and they're all exceptional.
Some songs that have never been officially remixed until this actual title. Like Dire Dire Docks. I don't think ever had a remix ever in Mario 64 until now. It's crazy.
And you never quite know what's coming up too. So that first time when you're roaming around the open world and you just hear whatever remix is next, like you get to the Mario Kart DS credits music, and you're like, what? This is here? Like there's a huge variety of really great songs.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of wild to snub it.
Yeah, it's another one of those instances where I think people tend to, and I was going to say this in reference to the audio design. I think that there's kind of this weird idea that 2D games can't have good audio design because you don't exist in a 3D space in those games. So, which is just stupid. like they, Hollow Knight, Silksong does have great audio design, but I think it's one of those things that it kind of just shows a weird bias. And I think you could say the same about Mario Kart World, where people think, oh, it's just Mario music, but is it really? Like it, music is music. And I think that there's some excellent compositions in Mario Kart World. And I think I think this is just another case of people kind of downplaying the level of talent on display in Nintendo games, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But either way, I think it's I hope Hades 2 wins this one. But I wouldn't be sad if any of the others win. And who knows, once I get to playing Clair Obscur tonight, now that I know that it's not a crazy long RPG, I may very well change my tune by the time the Game Awards come around. Let's go ahead and move forward with Best Art Direction. These nominees are all going to start sounding very familiar as we get up towards the top.
Time and time again.
Yeah, so we've got the same list of suspects. We have Clair Obscur, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, and again Silksong.
Expedition 33 doesn't have the best performance. You look at the hair, there's a lot of dithering. It's Unreal Engine 5, which struggles on consoles a lot of the time. There's technical issues, but the actual art direction is so strong. There's a lot of abstract art in this game, lots of broken pieces of the world floating around. But the moment where it really hit me that this is just a stunning looking game was, I think it's the second area where you're underwater and you've got all these beautiful aquatic things surrounding you. It's just beautiful. Both Hades 2 and Silksong I'd also consider very strongly, but I think Clair Obscur is the one for me.
Mm-hmm. Everything from the first scenes of the red and white everywhere with the flowers, all the way to sound funny, the very Persona 5 style UI with the battle sequence, where it the way that it just is very dynamic and not evenly laid out. Just a interesting contrast there that I think, it definitely holds up as one of the best art styles I've seen this year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm actually surprised that I'm the one saying this. For me, and again, lack of experience showing with Clair Obscur, but Silksong is this one for me. And I don't know that anything I'll see in Clair Obscur could change my mind on that. I think that Silksong has I love the kind of darker art style that both Hollow Knight and Silksong share. But just the way that world was built, and it's so haunting in its nature. you're kind of traveling through this area full of religious zealots who are worshiping kind of like you get the impression that everything in this area is dying. And there's just a cohesiveness to the world, and it kind of takes the art style that they created for Hollow Knight and takes it up a level to something that I think is just truly special. For me, it's just one of the best visual presentations I've seen this year.
Mm-hmm. It is
I
very
definitely,
strong.
I definitely think that when you get to the Citadel and you see that and the clockwork area within it, like that's like the most visually striking thing in that game. Is especially accompanied with the soundtrack when the vocals start up, and it just leaves a strong impression of like what the identity of that game is when you start Act 2. That definitely deserves a spot as well. I do agree.
Yeah, it was just my favorite world that I've been in this year, and in a year packed full of really interesting game worlds to explore. But yeah, I think that I don't think that this is another category where I don't think there's a wrong choice. I think there's just a lot of different ones. Let's keep it moving because we're coming up on like 2 hours.
Uh-oh.
For best narrative. And I find this one interesting in the choices they've put forward. And I think this is going to be another obvious one. But Clair Obscur, Death Stranding 3, Ghost of Yotei, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Silent Hill F. And I'm going to say it this time. This one seems like an easy one for Clair Obscur for me, because while I haven't played a ton, what I have played from a narrative perspective has been incredibly interesting.
There's no other choice, really. Like, all these games have good stories, but I think this is one that's not afraid to take risks. It does unconventional things. There's big moments that defy expectations. It's an unsafe story that hits hard at times.
I don't know that I could add anything else to that. That sounds perfect.
Yeah, we don't want to. We can't spoil anything for those that haven't tried it yet. So I mean, it's just something to behold in the moment.
Now this is an interesting one, and one that I kind of struggle with at times. This one is best game direction, and we rarely
know what they mean by this.
Yeah,
it's usually the same nominations as Game of the Year.
It's pretty close from what I understand. So this is again Clair Obscur, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, and Split Fiction. And this is an interesting case in which I didn't like Split Fiction, but I can at least respect the creative direction of it. It relies heavily on like bombast and kind of creative thinking to differentiate itself. Cause I think from a gameplay perspective, it's truly nothing all that special. I think it's just a very creative game. It's tough for me because I haven't seen the later moments of Clair Obscur. I've only seen the opening moments. But I'm confident that'll be the game that wins it. I just think personally that if you're talking strictly about direction, from what I've seen, I would have to go with Split Fiction.
I think to fully understand direction, you have to see behind the scenes of how something comes together. Which there's a pretty wide amount of that for Expedition. And I think you see a fair amount of what Hazelight Studios does with Split Fiction as well. But it's a strange category because how do we really define direction? Is it about how it all comes together? Is it the view of the studio? I don't really know. But just based off the material I have, I guess be boring again as the Expedition.
Yeah, I mean, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. It just feels like it's another like best art direction kind of game. Kind of category. So, yeah.
Strong chance Death Stranding 2 wins. I think people think direction, they think director, they think films, they think Kojima is like the closest thing to that. But it's a vague one.
It's tough because, like you said, it's extremely vague. I do think this might be the one that Kojima walks away with this year, which, I mean, and no shade to people who liked it, I did not enjoy Death Stranding 2 even a little. Like I ricocheted off that game at light speed. I would say it's, of all the games that released this year that I have tried, it's my least favorite. And that's saying something. Because I think I'm like considered to be the biggest Air Riders hater in the group, and I would play Air Riders all day over picking Death Stranding 2 back up.
I've not tried it myself yet. I'm a big Kojima fan, but for some reason I just haven't found the time yet. It will happen eventually.
I think for me the problem is Death Stranding fell apart when I realized that I was using we're 2 hours in, where I was using piss and shit to fight my enemies. And I was like, really? Well, like we're making pee pee poo poo jokes in our video games still. Like you already had me straining at Die Hard Man, and now I'm like I'm also hurling poo at enemies. All right, I'm done. I'm out, Kojima. But I picked up Death Stranding 2, and it just, I don't know, even it just did not do anything for me. But happy for you if it did. All right, we've got one final category left, and I kind of want to dive deeper into this one than the others, because this is the big boy. This is Game of the Year, and there is actually some surprise here for me. So our nominees are Clair Obscur, Death Stranding 2, DK Bonanza, surprisingly nominated for Game of the Year, Hades 2, Silksong, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I did not expect to see Bonanza in this list.
It's all fairly expected. Yeah, Nintendo games often don't quite make it unless it's like Breath of the Wild kind of tier. It's nice to see it here, though.
Yeah, it's nice to see it. I don't think it has a chance.
I don't think most games here have a chance.
Yeah, I would say the only thing, I almost see this as a race between Expedition and Silksong. I can't imagine any of the others having an opportunity to win.
Yeah.
No, that's it, really. Kingdom Come is big, but it also came out like right at the start of the year. I don't feel like its weight has been carried that entire time, whereas both Expedition and Silksong have.
I've seen people, for whatever reason, very recently talking about Kingdom Come, and I think it's because of the nomination. But yeah, I didn't hear anything about that game most of this year. I would say for me, I think Clair Obscur is the obvious choice. I think people are going to go for that. On this list, though, and I can't believe I'm the one saying this, is out of what I've currently experienced, Silksong would be my Game of the Year out of these nominees.
Mm-hmm. I did really love Silksong, and I think it's great as because it expects you to have played the first Hollow Knight, which when it came out, a lot of people complained about the difficulty. I think it's cool as a natural extension to give you more than the first game did. But like reflecting back, as much as I loved it, I think the whole thing, because it's iterative, because it's following up the last game did, it didn't hit as hard as the first Hollow Knight to me. Whereas Expedition is just something wholly new, and that's what's given me a bit more in the long run compared to Silksong.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I wish there was more credit given to Donkey Kong Bonanza, because I mean this is the same team that also worked on Super Mario Odyssey, a game that also was nominated for Game of the Year in the past, along with Breath of the Wild. But just because it's a entirely different take on an IP that hasn't surfaced in this sort of way in a 3D platformer in ever. It took the idea and did something completely different with Donkey Kong, and kind of turned up that franchise in a different way that no one really expected, and it did it well. It did it very well. But I guess when you're going up against games like Silksong and Clair Obscur, it's a bit hard to stand out, given the pedigree that these games have formed already in just 1 year.
Yeah, I think Bonanza probably could have stood more of a chance if. It's great for everything it does, but it's also very much building off the backbone of Odyssey. And like, you don't have to go around getting the bananas and all that. They're completely optional. But I think it shares maybe a bit too much DNA to stand out as the best game of that year.
I think the issue with Bonanza is that, like you said, John, it is in a weird way subtly derivative of Odyssey. Like it like you said, it shares a lot in common with that game, but also when taken in the context of like, we have this is a particularly stacked year for games. Like we've had a lot of really, really great games come out. I didn't see Baldur's Gate 3 running away with stuff because I didn't play it in time. But Expedition is just kind of it's been top of mind for people since it came out, and it's been one of those where I didn't particularly have a ton of interest in playing it, but hearing everybody talking about it has kind of moved the needle in the opposite direction for me. I think in another year, Bonanza would have had a much better chance of taking Game of the Year. I think it's just been strange in that we've had a lot of breakout indies, in particular in 2025.
It's refreshing. There was a time when in the Game Awards, it would just be the big AAAs and indies just stayed in their own little categories. Like every now and then, like you get a Celeste or something like that breaks through. But this year, half the nominations are indies, if you count Expedition as one, which is really cool to see. And it is a very innovative game. Like it has a world unlike any other, and the combat system isn't like entirely new. It's basically Mario RPG's combat system, where you can time your attacks to avoid or deal extra damage. So it's not like it's completely new, but I think in the context that it does it in, it's a bit more extreme. It demands further reflexes, and it turns up like turn-based RPGs into something that you really have to pay attention to. Like you can't just keep mashing the X button. You've got to really hold that controller tightly every time an attack phase goes by, because you've got to pay attention. And it becomes really addictive, really fun, and then it's all tied together by amazing performances, amazing soundtrack. It doesn't do a whole lot badly.
I still need I desperately need to play it. I am going to take a break from Persona. I'm promising you that I'll take a break and play this and come back to Persona. But I do want to, because again, this is mostly a Nintendo podcast, so this episode has been very other things. I want to go around and ask you each, what is your Switch 2 game of the year? So I'll go ahead and start with you, Daniel. Considering only the Switch 2, what is your game of the year?
Don't do this to me. I don't know.
It is tough.
Yeah, like
I've cornered him.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hard to say, man. I don't know. I mean, I'm recency bias for all these is just difficult because this console's been out for like only 5 months at this point. So I don't know if I had a lot of these titles enough to settle in enough for me to determine like, oh, which one have I enjoyed the most this year? Donkey Kong Bonanza left a strong impression on me. I mean, sure, it doesn't do too much. No, it does do a lot different than Odyssey. Given all the stuff that it's introduced, breaking everything in the entire environment. Something that you can destroy and break apart, and adding another character on your side like Pauline. I think she adds a whole lot to the story as well. Transformations, being able to just play the game however you want. You want to go straight for the end, you can do that. You can ignore all the bananas if you want to collect every single thing available. It'll take a while, but you can do that as well. It has the most perfect ingenious thing in this game, in which when you use the sonar, the clap, it also collects everything. So when you collect everything, you're also setting yourself up to see what else there is. And so it sets up that perfect loop of gameplay that there's always something to do, there's always something to go for. And I think that's a really genius thing that it's done in its gameplay. But yeah, that's I said enough on DK. What do you guys think?
DK's very high up there one. Because right now it's also the big Switch 2 game. Like Mario Kart World's great. But it's outside of the scope of the game. It's not really a hardware showcase. Whereas DK it does gameplay mechanics that you can't really have done on Switch 1. And we're not really seeing on other platforms this level of destruction and terrain forming. But just for variety's sake, though, I'll give it to Hades too. I think it's super fun, super imaginative, and very, very addicting. That loop can go on for forever if you want it to.
Hades 2 is a fantastic choice. It's got an arcadey feel to it that I really like. Kind of that ability to drop in and do one more game. I'm gonna recency bias be damned. I'm gonna have to say mine this year so far is
Kirby
Persona
Outriders.
3 Reload. I can't. If you told me at the beginning of this year that I was gonna drop into a JRPG, do 50 hours in a matter of like a week and a half or 2 weeks, and then know that there was another 50 hours and not bail, I would have laughed. I would have said no way. But I think that I don't see myself wanting to stop playing that. I don't think by the end of the year it will be my game of the year. But currently it is the most fun I've had with my Switch 2 for a prolonged period. I've put more hours into Persona 3 Reload than I've probably put into any other single Switch 2 game. And I'm not even close to done. And I think that's kind of cool. I really like that. But I mean, I could easily be swayed to say Age of Imprisonment or Ball Pit or any number of games. I'm having tons of fun. So it's just kind of a year where it seems like every couple weeks we get something worth playing on the Switch 2. But yeah, Persona 3's taken up more of my time than any one of those releases. So I'd have to say
I'm getting Trails in the Sky for Christmas, and it's just hit me that's kind of strange not to be in the RPG category.
All right, hold on, John. Yeah. Why do you know what you're getting for Christmas? It is November.
I've got to form a list. Got to get it done.
Is that how British Christmas works? You just tell people what you want, and they're like, "Yeah, here you go. Or I'm getting you this. Please don't buy it." I'm just kidding. That's like, I don't know. Let's just diverge for a bit before we end the podcast. I don't know if this is how it works, John. Obviously, you got married. What, like a year ago?
Yeah.
Has it been a year?
It's been a year.
Yeah. Happy belated anniversary. But I don't know if Roxy does this to you, but Rosie will make it almost plainly obvious what she's getting me for Christmas most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, she'll just be like, don't buy this exact item.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
We're always at risk of just buying ourselves whatever game, because we can't stop ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. It's a weird thing. Like, it's kind of like just when you have adult money, that it's like a lack of self-control, right? Like, I don't want to make it sound like I'm just out here buying games and not food. But I will oftentimes, like, if a game comes out and I know I want to play it, I'm not giving anyone else the opportunity to get it for me. I'm just like, yep, I'm grabbing that immediately. I will say that I put a few on my Christmas list this year, but they were like lower priority games. So for instance, like a dummy, I picked up the Switch 1 version of Dragon Quest 1 and 2.
Oh no.
Thinking that I could just upgrade it later because I got it for cheap. And then I found out I can't. So now Dragon Quest 1 and 2 is on the Christmas list for Switch 2.
Does Square just throw a dart at whatever game they're doing? Like, does this one get an update? Yeah, you got to pay for that one. Does it get an update? Yeah, it's free. Does this get an update? Nope. There's no rhyme or reason to anything.
No, there isn't. Daniel, I want to ask you too. As a single guy out there, do the people in your life just come to you knowing that you're like a big video game person and ask you like, hey, I want to get you something for Christmas. What games do you not have?
At this point in my life, they end up just asking what I do want. And, it's a lot more direct. They're not really as attuned with the things that I do. So like they don't know about games. They don't know about what's coming out, what's in or out. My little sisters probably know more than my actual, like my dad and my stepmom probably do, because they don't really like to have them play games. And usually I'm the one that comes over. I'll bring my Switch 2 and we'll play Mario Kart or something, or I'll have to introduce to them Kirby Air Riders because they're a fan of Kirby as well. But no, I don't really get told that kind of stuff. It's me getting them stuff mostly. I'm actually going to give my sisters Rosalina's storybook for Christmas. That's perfect for them.
I read my kids that yesterday. I had tears rolling down my eyes.
No,
they're just looking at me like, "Why are you crying?"
My mama.
I got that book. I forgot that I had pre-ordered it, and it just showed up I don't know why, because objectively I know there's not a lot of pages in Rosalina's storybook, but it's so much thinner than I thought it would be. Like, I just imagined this massive tome coming with like 12 pages in it. And then I got it, and it's like just, a normal sized book, not this giant book that Rosalina has in the game. And I was a little deflated. I was like, I just wish they would have filled it with blank pages so I could have this giant book that makes no sense. But now I weirdly, it only has the Galaxy 1 pages in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, none of the new stuff.
I can open it then. I was afraid that it would have the new Galaxy 2 pages and I'd spoil the game for myself. So I'll have to open that. But yeah, I have it upstairs somewhere. It showed up in one of the many Amazon boxes that shows up around this time of year. But yeah, I think that's where we're gonna stop. We went through all of the categories of the Game Awards. Real quick, what kind of shoes is Jeff Keighley going to be wearing?
Clown shoes, just these big old, like size 20, just clown shoes coming on the stage.
Honking as he comes out.
Yeah.
Just big squeaky shoes that are inexplicably wet. Just leaving puddles behind him as he goes. All right, I think we're all getting delirious from talking about the Game Awards for too long. That's gonna do it for us this week. My alarm to wake up just went off. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching, wherever you are, whether you're on Spotify or YouTube. If you're on Spotify, please follow The Week in Nintendo. I'm asking you that because they told me to ask you that. They were like, hey, you should tell people to follow you. So please go ahead if you'd like to. If you're watching on YouTube, you know what to do. Subscribe, hit the bell for notifications each time a new episode goes up. If you're in the part of the world that celebrates Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. If you're not, I hope you enjoyed your Thursday. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, bye everyone.
We meet again.